Hi, my name is Morgan, and welcome to our webinar, Make Hay While the Sun Shines, How to Make a Profit by Going Solar. Um, SolarSmart is a company, an Irish-based company. We're in our fifth year of operation. We've just completed our 1,000th residential installation during the month of November 2024. We have teams based in Dublin and in Cork. And basically, if you draw a line from Dundalk through Athlone and then over to Galway and down, that is the area of Ireland that we are able to cover. So today we're going to start by answering a whole bunch of frequently asked questions that our customers bring to us during our consultation period with them. And then we're going to go into some examples on how customers can make money by going solar. So where does today's electricity come from? I pulled this graphic from the website, from the EirGrid website this morning on December the 9th. And it shows that our mix of fuel mix that's powering the Irish grid is 35% made up of renewables, still a small percentage made from coal, quite a large percentage still being created from the burning of gas, and then we're importing electricity from the UK as well. So quite a bit of work to do before we reach a 100% renewable source of electricity. So what is the grid? The grid is an electrical grid of interconnected network for electricity. It's made up of power stations that are connected to substations. All of this is connected together via transmission lines. And the job of the grid is to get electricity from the power stations or from where the electricity is being created to each of the fuse boards, whether it be residential, agriculture, or commercial. So your home is connected to the grid, and the grid feeds electricity into your home via the meter, and the meter is connected to your fuse board. So right now, if you are pulling electricity down from the grid, say, for example, today on the 9th of December, then you would be pulling down about 35% electricity from a renewable source. What is a kilowatt and what is a watt? A watt is the unit used to measure a quantity of power, and it was invented or named by a guy named James Watt, Scottish inventor back in the late 1700s, early 1800s. He coined the term a watt, meaning a quantity of power. A kilowatt is 1,000 of these watts. And appliances around your home are measured in kilowatts. So for example, a Hoover is a 2 kilowatt appliance. A kettle is a 3 kilowatt appliance. And what that means is that a Hoover needs 2,000 watts of power in order to operate for 1 hour. So that makes it a 2 kilowatt appliance. And if you were to run your kettle for an hour, which of course you wouldn't do, but if you were to run your kettle for an hour, it is a 3 kilowatt appliance. And so it's going to use 3,000 watts of electricity for every hour that it is running. Um, a lot of our clients ask us about how to interpret their electricity bill. This is a sample electricity bill covering 2 months, August and September of 2024, for a client from Board Gas Energy. It shows at the top, generally on almost every bill, it'll give you an idea of what your annual electricity usage is, and then it will also potentially compare that to what the national average is. So this homeowner has used 11,200 kilowatt hours in the last 11 months. That would suggest to me that the individual changed suppliers 11 months ago, since the supplier doesn't have 12 months of data. And then this green bar here is the national average, which is about 4,200 kilowatt hours a year. You have your standing charge, which is a charge for your meter to be connected to the grid. That's a charge that we don't have any control over, and unfortunately, solar will not help you tackle that cost. However, the cost, the next line down, 1,285 kilowatt hours, at 33 cents a kilowatt hour shows that this consumer is spending about 432 euros bi-monthly on electricity. There's a discount that's applied, and generally speaking, that discount comes in the first year of your electricity supply contract. And so we would encourage our clients to make sure that they're changing electricity suppliers every 12 months to avail of the discounts that the suppliers are offering. So the sun as an energy source is quite a powerful source. More than 99% of the world's energy does come from the sun, and the sun, enough sunlight falls on the Earth's surface in 1 minute to power the world for a whole 12 months at current electricity rates. And solar photovoltaic, solar PV, which it's called, is one of the cleanest and most impactful ways of harnessing the sun's energy. We get asked quite frequently whether or not solar PV really does work in Ireland. A little known fact and secret, maybe, of the industry is that solar panels perform better at temperatures of 25 degrees Celsius or less, making them really effective in the summertime here in Ireland. And you combine that with the fact that we have really long days, makes Ireland an exceptional location for solar irradiation. Now, the converse in the wintertime is dark days, short days. We don't do very much, but we can definitely make an impact for 7 or 8 months out of the year with our very long days, and our temperature, which is quite moderate. The other thing to keep in mind when wondering whether or not solar is good for Ireland, every kilowatt hour that a homeowner generates on their rooftop actually saves 3 kilowatts of power generated in a power station. And the reason for that is because there is energy that's lost in the transmission of power from one side of the country to the other. So, for example, if you have a wind farm that's producing in Galway or in Clare or somewhere out west, and you're trying to get that power to Cork or to Dublin, 3 kilowatts of power sent over the line from the power station will only result in 1 kilowatt of power delivered to the homeowner. So if we put solar panels on the home, then you are actually saving 3 kilowatts of energy production at a power station. So a pretty significant impact. So how does a solar system work? There are five primary components to a solar system. It's quite simple. Solar panels make DC or high voltage electricity on your roof. An inverter turns the DC electricity into AC, which is low voltage electricity that can be used by your fuse board. We can also use a heat diverter to send extra electricity produced by the panels into your hot water tank or your immersion. We can send extra electricity being produced by the solar panels and not being used by your home into an EV if it's plugged in during the day. And we can also store extra electricity that your panels are producing during the day, and we can use that power during the nighttime. The other purpose for a battery is that in the wintertime, when the sun is low in the sky and the panels aren't producing as much as they normally would be able to produce in the summertime, we can fill that battery up with low cost electricity in the middle of the night and use that power to supplement the power that the solar panels are making the following day. Every solar system comes with an app that allows you to see what you're producing on your phone, how much is going into your fuse board. And if you have a battery or a hot water diverter, we could also tell you how much electricity is flowing out to the grid and how much electricity is going into the battery or into your hot water tank. A little bit more of a detailed explanation about how we get the solar panels installed. Um, Many people think that the panels are actually attached to tiles on the roof, and that's not exactly how it works. We pull the tiles away from your roof, exposing your rafters, and the brackets that the panels are mounted on are actually attached to the rafters in your attic. So the solar structure itself is attached to the structure of your house or the foundation of your house. Once we install the bracket in onto the rafter, we then put a piece of flashing that goes over the bracket, which is the same size as a normal tile. And then we put the tiles on top of the flashing, and this whole structure is watertight with the flashing and the the tile back on the roof. Once we've retiled the roof and the brackets are sticking out, we lay rails down on top of the brackets. The panels then slide into on top of the rails, and we use clamps at the end of the rails to actually hold the structure in place and attach to the roof. The panels are then wired into your inverter, and the inverter inverts DC electricity made by the panels into AC electricity, which is then fed into your fuse board. Whatever your house is drawing will then be catered for. If you have extra electricity that the panels are producing over and above what the fuse board is using, then that will be stored secondly in your battery storage system if you have one. If you don't have a battery storage system, or if the battery storage is full, then the extra electricity will flow out to the grid. Anything that flows out to the grid, you should be getting a credit, approximately 23 cents a kilowatt hour. Any excess left over after the battery is full will go to a hot water tank if you have a hot water diverter and an immersion. And finally, you can also divert extra power into an electric vehicle, and you can prioritize between the electric vehicle and the hot water diverter if you have one. A lot of our clients ask us whether or not the best and optimal roof for producing solar is south facing. So they'll think something like, I have an east-west facing roof, and so it's not going to be appropriate for solar. The reality is that there's two ways really of looking at this. If you have a south facing roof, it is true that it is going to produce more power than if you have an east-west facing aspect. However, with the south facing roof, you're going to get a lot of the power generated in the middle of the day. The hard part about that is using all of that power in the middle of the day, because most people are using more power in the evening time or at nighttime. And so if you do have a south facing roof, it can produce quite a bit of electricity. However, you want to try to make sure that you're able to use the electricity that you produce, perhaps by installing a battery or by running a lot of appliances while that's happening, or charging an electric vehicle if you can plug it in during the day. With an east-west aspect, you're going to start producing electricity earlier in the day, and you're going to use it more consistently throughout the day because you're not going to have a big spike. You're also going to get more production later on in the day. So actually, an east-west facing roof produces a really nice production curve of electricity, and you're likely to be able to use more of it because you're getting it for a longer period of time. So here's some financial examples of how much a 10 panel 4.4 kilowatt system would produce in Ireland. If the roof were perfectly south facing, it would produce about 3,900 kilowatt hours annually. Assuming an electricity tariff of 33 cents, then that home would save approximately 1,300 euro a year. A southwest facing and a southeast facing aspect are going to produce roughly the same 3,600 kilowatt hours a year. And those homeowners would save somewhere around 1,200 euros a year. And an east-west facing is only going to produce about 3,000 kilowatt hours a year, saving approximately 1,000, but that's because you can probably use more of what you produce for yourself. Now we have a couple of examples. Our partner for finance is a company called Finance Ireland, and they offer 6% 6% interest over a 10-year loan period. There's also a small administration fee of I think 150 euros when you first kick off. So here's an example with the full 10-year loan and the administration fee included in all of the numbers. So basically no out-of-pocket expense whatsoever for a homeowner. This example, we have 8 panels. and that is on a south-facing roof. The financial assumptions are that the homeowner is using 4,700 kilowatt hours of electricity a year. They have a gas boiler with an immersion. They're paying 33 cents a kilowatt hour, and we are showing them in this financial model an 8-panel south-facing system with a hot water diverter. So the cost for buying the system outright would be 7,800 euros approximately. But the monthly payment, if you will, over 10 years would be 71 euro. And we project that this system will save the customer on average 83 euro a month. So if we take the 12 euro a month savings over and above what the customer is going to save on their electricity bill, this particular homeowner could own a solar system without any out-of-pocket expense by paying a 10-year finance option, and this homeowner would save an additional 1,440 euros over and above what they save on their electricity bill. Same home. We've just expanded the size of the system to 15 panels, sorry, to account for a looks like a Velux window or something that's in the top of the roof. So we're still dealing with the same default information. The annual usage is 4,700 kilowatt hours, and the electricity tariff is 33 cents. In this case, we've configured a 15 panel system with 5 kilowatt hour battery and keeping the hot water diverter. The out-of-pocket cost for this system would be about 11,800 euro. The 10-year finance option, however, would mean that the client would pay 117 euros a month for this system and save 123 euros a month over the life of the system on electricity bills. So the 10-year finance option is actually putting an additional 720 euros in this customer's bank account over the course of 10 years. Now we're looking at an east-west system, small 10-panel system, and the annual electricity usage for this home is 8,000 kilowatt hours. This customer has an air-to-water heat pump. The electricity tariff is 37 cents a kilowatt hour. And as you can see from the numbers, purchase outright would be 7,700. However, from a monthly lease perspective or loan perspective, the homeowner would be paying 69 euros a month with an estimated 100 euro a month saving. That means that this homeowner would be putting 3,700 euros in their bank account over the course of 10 years while still saving on their electricity bills. Last example, a 16 panel, 7 kilowatt system with a battery. The homeowner would pay about 11,500 euros for this system. The monthly payment for financing would be 114, and the estimated utility savings would be 163 euros a month. And this would equate to 10-year finance option of savings of almost 6,000 euros. So in addition to saving 163 euros on the utility savings, the customer is going to be able to put an additional 4,000 or 5,000 euros in the bank. Other things to consider when thinking about going solar. With the hot water diverter, the idea is that you use electricity to heat your water rather than use gas in the summertime. In the summer, your solar panel system is going to overproduce electricity because of the length of the days and the amount of light that we get. What that means is that you're going to have extra electricity that's going to be flowing out to the grid once your battery is full, if you have a battery. Instead of allowing that electricity to flow out to the grid, we would recommend actually taking that electricity and using it to heat your water if you use a lot of hot water in your home. And that would represent you being able to turn your gas off, say, for example, at the end of April, and maybe not turn it back on until the end of October when it's time to heat your home again for the winter. And so during that whole period of time, you're going to save on your gas bill, but there's no way for us to reflect that savings in our financial calculations. So that's more money that you're going to save if you go with a hot water diverter. And then the other thing to think about is that solar is going to improve your BER rating. Generally speaking, we see that a solar system that's properly sized for a home is going to improve the BER rating by 2 rungs. So for example, if you go into your solar journey with a C3 and you install a solar system that's appropriately sized for your house and your usage, we should be able to get you up to a C1. Now we have just a quick video about some of our customer feedback.
I was looking to go solar for a little while, but I knew it was a significant upfront investment. But given the fact that the electricity prices continued to rise, it seemed like the smart thing to do, to try and mitigate that over time. And also, as a byproduct, you do actually get a lift to your BER rating, which is obviously a value to the house if you choose to sell it.
I've been watching for quite a while neighbours, other friends and family putting in solar panels and hearing the great stories, and I wanted to be sustainable. It was an overall ambition of mine was to be more sustainable. I now recycle. I'm really good on my recycling, on my not taking the car as much as I should do. So I want to be a better person, and this is part of that journey. And the other point that's really important for me was that I'm now approaching retirement age in the not too distant future, and I really wanted to reduce my cost of living because I can afford to pay bills, expensive bills now when I'm working. But when I retire, it's going to be a whole different ballpark. So this was an investment in my future, if you like, to not have to worry about expensive electricity bills going forward.
So 50% of it was economical, 50% of it was ecological. I have a pretty energy efficient home. It's an A-rated home, but we also use an air to water pump, so our energy bills are pretty high. I work from home, so it means that I use a lot of electricity during the day. So I wanted to make a big dent in monthly expenses and flatten the curve, but then also to responsibly play our part for the economy or for the climate and environment, and make sure that we're contributing back to the grid.
I basically had turned my gas heating off completely. I used the gas for hot water, but I was able to get all the hot water I needed during the summer months. And as it's moved into the winter months, I'm still getting a significant benefit. My gas bill is coming around about half of my electricity bill is coming around about half of what I was expecting to pay if I look on year on year. I guess the winter hasn't fully kicked in yet, but it looks like a good start, and we'll see how it progresses over the next 4 or 5 months.
Everything was explained to me. You guys even did the grant application for me. Hallelujah, that's such a headache. That was an added bonus. But I think at the end of the day, I have solar now, I'm very happy. My bills are minuscule by comparison. But the job the lads did, they were very, very good. The salesperson was excellent, explained everything that was going to happen. And the actual installation, it was perfect. They were so good. I really appreciated that.
So that is the end of the presentation. Thank you very much for your time. You are able to email sales@solarsmart.ie to obtain a free no obligation quote or an updated quote if we've already sent you one in the past. And you will be able to see whether or not solar is going to put money into your bank account. The SEAI domestic grant will reduce from $2,100 to $1,800 at the end of this month, December 2024. So starting January 2025, it will only be 1,800 euros for a domestic solar grant. If you register before the year end, though, what you do have is you've got 8 months to actually complete the installation. So you can register now before the end of 2024, and you have until the middle of the summer next year to actually get your solar system installed and still benefit from the 2,100. Thank you very much for your time today. As I said, email sales@solarsmart.ie or contact our free phone number or touch base with your solar advisor if you're looking for more information. Thank you very much. My name is Morgan Pierce, and this is SolarSmart.